Hello and welcome to 3D PK. My name's James and I'm going to be your host. Today's a bit of an introduction to my channel. This channel is all about 3D printing. I'm still quite new to 3D printing, but I want to share those experiences with you guys on YouTube. Throughout the whole process I'll be using my ANET printer, which I'll show you shortly, along with the Simplify 3D software package. So hopefully together we'll be able to print some awesome projects. So for my projects I'm going to be using the ANET A8 printer. It's a DIY, build it yourself, out of a box printer. As you can see at the minute I am printing a couple of parts for it, hopefully to improve the general quality and cable tidiness of the machine. I've been printing now for a few hours today, and as you can see I've started to attach some of the parts to the printer. One of the first things we actually printed was these little caps that go on top of these little poles here. For some reason when ANET decided to design this printer, they designed this rod to be sort of 40mm shorter than the actual top of the frame, and so these are nice little quick prints to stop these from wiggling about. Not that I saw them moving about a great deal, but it just kind of finishes it off a little bit. And like I say, here's the other one on the other side. A lot of people said with the original A8 that actually there was some issues with stability of the framework, but actually I'm pretty confident that this is pretty rigid. So I have absolutely no doubt that I don't need any of the further sort of braces to hold the machine together. So I'm quite happy with that. I've started to print a sort of chain guard for the printer itself. So this bit here is a part that I printed earlier on today, and now we're working on the other sort of bracket. Once this is finished, this will essentially attach onto this bit here, and then I will continue to build these little things, and then I'll be able to run the cable through them, and that just ties up the cable mechanism for me. Okay, so as far as the STL files go, we can simply download those from places like Thingiverse, or we can model them ourselves in one of many 3D modelling softwares. But once we've got all our files together, what's next on the agenda? Well, we use something called a slicer, and for this one I like to use Simplify 3D. I chose to use this one because I found it to be the easiest one to use, and it gave me great results with very little modification to the process settings. But I'm just going to run through some of the basic things with you, just so you can see roughly how it works. And it's quite easy. So first and foremost, we start by importing a file. So this can be anything that you've downloaded from the internet, or anything that you've created yourself. And by doing so, you'll then get whatever you want to look at. So as you can see here, I've got a few bits and bobs that I've obviously been putting together for quite some time. So for this bit, let's just have a look at the spool holder. I go into my files, and here we have a range of STL files to choose from. Now for this, we're going to select one, and it's going to then drop it onto my bed. And from here we can do one of many things, including resizing it, move it around the board to move it in different places within the bed itself, look at different viewpoints, and so on and so forth. But this has already been scaled to the correct size already, so there's nothing I really need to do about it. And one of the things you should always do before you start preparing this file to convert it into a G-code is look at your process settings. One of the great things about Simplify 3D is I think it's very easy to change the settings to what you want it to do. Now there's not many things that you really need to change, but certainly there are a few that I would highly recommend. First one is the infill percentage, which is at the top here. Now at the minute mine's set to 30%. I generally build most of my prints with around about 30%, unless I need something that's particularly strong, in which case then I will increase it. The raft is just a layer surrounding the image itself, so it just gives the extruder time to gain its momentum before the actual print. and the support. The support is very important when building certain prints, particularly if there's any overhanging parts like brackets or something at 45-degree angle. You'd want to put that support in there to stop that piece of the print warping and going all over the place. I've actually got an example here of a couple of situations. This is the one of them. I actually forgot to add any support to this lower part here, and as you can see, it looked absolutely terrible. I tried to save the piece by gremlining it down, and as you can see, it's not very secure now. Otherwise, that would have been a pretty good print, but I basically destroyed it because I forgot to add the support, and we don't want this kind of spaghetti sticking at the bottom. Another thing to look at is the temperature. Temperature is very, very important when it comes to 3D printing. Now, I have a sort of everyday setting, which is my bed temperature, which I also have at 50 degrees, and my extruded temperature, which I have at 200 degrees. These are my go-to settings, and they work pretty damn well for me. So I don't have any intention of changing those anytime soon. The only time I might think about changing them is if I'm changing the actual material that I'm printing in, in which case then I might have to adapt accordingly. But for now, this to me works very, very well. Speed, my default printing speed is 42 millimeters per minute. I'm happy with that. I don't have any need to change any of that, and so I'm going to keep it as it is. And there are all the bits and bobs in here as well for you to look at, but really, you don't need to worry about it too much. Layer is another one that I think is quite important. Now, what I have tended to do, and I think many other people do the same, is lower the first layer speed. This gives the PLA a better chance of adhering to the actual print bed and stop a complete and utter spaghetti mess, because we don't want that. But this is already set up for me. This is obviously pre-saved, and so I'm happy I can just go OK on that. Now, actually on this one here, there's probably not actually any need for any form of support, so I'm just going to go back in, take the support out as so. Then we go down here to prepare to print. It converts the STL file into a G-code, and voila, eventually, there we go. We've now got our G-code ready. Now at this point you can actually preview the actual print process in Simplify 3D, which I find to be rather good. Simply press on the play button and it actually imitates the print process on your computer screen. Handy if you want to see what it's doing. At the top here then we've got the different speeds, so it actually shows you the maximum and minimum speed it does at any given moment within the print process. So here we've got variation of points here which are slightly slower, and these sort of infill parts here are running on its maximum speed. At this point now, if we hit the Save Tool path to disk, we can then save our G-code to wherever you want to save it. In the case of the ANET, simply saving it to your SD card, which will then pull it across and then prepare the machine to then start printing. And that is pretty much how you use Simplify 3D. And there you go, thank you very much for watching my first video on YouTube. In the next video we are going to be looking at the first project. Now the plan for that project is to take a budget quad drone and convert all the electronics from that into a 3D printed DJI Mavic Pro. So thank you very much for watching again. Please like and share, and hopefully we'll see you again in the next video. Thanks very much.